All right, so the first video we have, here we go. I've got two videos. I've got one by Marcus Dibb and I've got one by Buck Angel about young people who are starting to regret their transitions because there's been no one that's been saying that this might happen if we keep on transing kids, you know, absolutely no one. Can't think of anyone who's been saying that. Anyway, it kind of seems like some of them are starting to regret their transition, bizarrely. So let's see. We've got Marcus Dibb first. Let's see what people are saying. JK derangement syndrome. Yes, very much. We'll get to that, don't worry.
A detransitioner is someone who regrets going through a medical gender transition. It describes a person who thought that they were trans, thought that they had gender dysphoria, and then after the transition they realized they deal with other mental health issues. There is a huge rise in detransitioners all across the West. And the most disturbing part of all this is how
Hey, it's good to see you, Serena.
so many of these people transitioned when they were children. And I'm gonna react to one of those stories today.
My name is Grace. I'm a 19-year-old detransitioning femme, and I started testosterone at 13 in the state of Arizona. To get to that point, I went through 9 months of gender therapy, which I do not believe was long enough. My current therapist recommends about 1 to 2 years before she will even think about writing a letter. The reason why I was able to be fast-tracked through it so quickly was because I had wealthy parents that were liberal. There is no other reason, nothing special I did or things I said or whatever. The only reason why I was able to get testosterone so young was because I had liberal, wealthy parents.
13 years old. Unbelievable and so
Should people be going on T at 13 years old? I don't think so, personally.
unethical.
People ask me how to get testosterone so young, and literally all I can say is be privileged.
It doesn't sound like you were that privileged, because it's due to your parents' wealth that you transitioned,
Well, it's a matter of perspective, whether they're privileged or not, I guess.
which you shouldn't have been through. In other words, if your parents weren't rich, you wouldn't have been through all of this.
My beliefs are that you should have 1 to 2 years of gender therapy and a full psych evaluation.
Although it sounds great, if you start at age 13, it means you can start hormones at age 15. And that's still way
The other thing is the gender, what am I saying? The gender therapy, you know, if it's given by WPATH doctors or whatever, is not to be trusted to begin with. So, I don't know, the solution they're suggesting, it's good that they're thinking about solutions, but it needs work, you know.
too effing young.
When I say my
I was saying years ago that goth glam dance scene surviving would save a lot of pain for actual trans people in internet. What, as in, those are the kind of people that are now, transitioning? Because, it feels a lot like some of this is a fashion movement of some of these people, especially, the non-binary and the more esoteric shit. If that's what you mean. Oh, thank you. I'm just giving everyone back, because I'm being mean to everyone. And I don't know, at the moment, I don't know, everything gets spent on bills and stuff at the moment. So yeah, it's one of those things I will get when I am able to, you know.
lived experience isn't cis.
Question is, do you think you had a more complicated relationship to gender than cis people and that's why you transitioned? Or did you confuse GNC with being trans or something else?
It's because I don't have memories of girlhood. Not really. I mean, I started transitioning at 12, and I have trauma associated with lots of things in my life, which is known to cause memory loss and memory issues. So I honestly can't sit here and tell you, oh yes, I was gender nonconforming and that's why I transitioned, or oh yes, I had a
I mean, thinking more about this question, I think you have to have a more complicated relationship to gender. Oh yeah, I need that on a t-shirt. Hi, Raven B. Yeah, complicated relationship to gender. I think you necessarily have to have one of those. Because, I don't know, we think cis means I identify with the gender I was born with, which I really don't think is the case. I think identifying is an action.
complicated relationship with gender, because I don't know how I was feeling or what I was thinking or what I said, what I did. I have no idea.
This is so effed up. She didn't know why.
Yeah, this person was pretty mentally ill. This reminds me a lot of some of the WPATH leaks, which according to Assigned Media are just forum posts, by the way. I guess it's fine to read an account from a doctor suggesting that someone just get consent from every DID person's altar for transitioning. Like, sure, I have a video on that. I recommend people watch it. It's probably not the most entertaining thing in the world, but yeah, there's a lot of bullshit in trans media, and trying to get people to understand this is it's a challenge, shall we say.
Why she transitioned at age 13. Why she wanted to receive testosterone, a drug that will make irreversible changes to her body, to her mind. I honestly don't know what to say. Many detransitioners have experienced trauma in their childhood, especially body-related trauma. And as you all know, the mind will make you forget some of these traumatic things that happened to you to protect itself. So it must be so scary for her to sit there, as an adult I assume, young adult at least, and have to live with the side effects, the consequences of the testosterone. Children cannot consent to the medical transition. A 12-year-old, a
I agree with him.
13-year-old cannot consent to permanently altering their bodies, affecting their future sex life and fertility. And to give a 13-year-old girl testosterone who has mental health issues.
The other thing is, maybe he's going to mention this, but like, if they're getting testosterone at like 13, when are they getting like a mastectomy done? Bear in mind, you know, you have one of those done, you change your mind down the line, which if you're having it done at like 16, you've got the rest of your life for this. Like, you might regret it one day, realize that you'll never breastfeed your kid. So, you know, it's, I don't know. I can't get behind any of the child transition. Maybe someone will change my mind one day, but everything I see and everything I hear, I just can't square it. I don't think it's right.
Who has been through trauma is even more disgusting. And the doctor giving her testosterone should be in jail. That's my opinion.
I really try to maintain.
Yeah, in regards to like mental health and like transitioning people way sooner than they probably should have been, I highly recommend looking up the WPATH leaks, especially, or the WPATH files, I think it's called, especially the transcripts of like forum posts, because the rest of it is mostly just interpretation of them, which, you know, it's on and off, I guess. But the actual transcripts are really interesting and show the kind of the mentality towards mental health when it comes to transitioning.
A positive attitude about my detransition, but I definitely get into mindsets where I'm like, why did I do this to myself?
Listen, I'm lucky. I don't feel that way, but I could have, you know. Then again, I've known dozens of men, women, roid heads with their own kids. Yeah. The thing is, when it gets to adulthood, it's like, well, you know, you're an adult. I guess you can consent to whatever the fuck you want. That's how I was 25 when I started. There was no consent issues because I was fine, you know. I was able to make that decision, and I don't regret it, but I'm lucky, you know. What happens to all these people? Watching videos of detransitioners talking about their stories, or whatever the apparent opinions might be on the medical establishment, is always heartbreaking, and it's horrible when activists dismiss them. Yeah, I agree. It's really irritating seeing people like Jammy Dodger, for example. They only ever talk about detransitioners to say how few of them there are, or to point out specific ones, usually someone like Chloe Cole or something, to like shit on them. And that's all they do. I think it's pretty disgusting, to be honest. Good to see you, Nick.
You didn't do this to yourself. Adults did this to you when you were a child. I think it's a form of coping mechanism when detransitioners blame themselves rather than the doctors they trusted and, of course, their parents. And I don't think that's right. Sometimes parents push their children to transition because they want a trans child. And that's...
See, this is the kind of thing, I know for sure it fucking happened. Oh, would they not need it if it was before puberty, maybe. I'd need to look more into that. But I don't know. The point, like, irrespective, like, people shouldn't be getting mastectomies like under 18. I think that's crazy. But then I'm not sure they should be going on T like at the age of below 18, shall we say. Like 13 sounds insane to me.
That's horrible, of course. But I think the doctors are the ones to blame. They're the ones with the degree.
Yes, No, I agree. Listen, most of the doctors are like captured as fuck anyway. You know, I keep talking about things like WPATH and they're worth looking into and stuff. Like, with the parents, it's difficult to really blame most of them if they're not actively the one trying to make their kids transition, because they're put in a really difficult place. It's like, you know, you need to affirm this child's gender identity or they might kill themselves. It's like, what's a parent going to do, you know? Like, Jesus Christ. Could this be linked to anorexia, bulimia, maybe? Possibly. People point to anorexia being kind of the thing that girls were doing before they started transitioning, I guess, but I'm not sure. I probably should learn more about those conditions as well. I know a little bit.
With the medical knowledge, and they should know better.
What was the reason? Because I don't remember. I was so dissociated, or I had trauma, or whatever was going on at the time to make me not remember what I was feeling, what I was thinking. I don't remember a single thing about the first doctor's appointments I had.
What the fuck?
Mom tells me things that happened at those appointments all the time, and I just don't even remember anything.
Why didn't anyone notice this? Why didn't her parents notice that she wasn't present when she was a child, a teenager? And most importantly, why didn't a medical professional or a...
He said something about, like, parents transitioning their kids earlier. I kind of wonder, because obviously it happens somewhere. There's some parents doing this kind of shit, even if you can't really prove it. Obviously, if something exists, it probably fucking happens. Like, you can't put anything past people. But I kind of wonder how many of them are parents that have got, like, an autistic kid who's really difficult to deal with. And maybe, like, maybe they're just such a handful, but they show vague interest in, like, girly shit, or not very interested in boy shit if they're a boy, for example, and the parent thinks that that's what's gonna bring them under control. Like, it's within the realms of possibility. I think I'll never start a band. It's such a waste of time. No, I'm kidding. Listen, it hasn't gone anywhere for me, but it will for you totally.
Gender therapist, a therapist, noticed that she was in so much pain from trauma that she literally had memory loss issues. I'm not a medical professional, I'm not a therapist, so maybe I'm being unfair here, maybe it's impossible to know. But I do not understand why she had to go through so much neglect.
The other thing is, like, it doesn't sound like she had any, like, diagnoses or anything else before. She's not mentioning any specific conditions, just kind of what she was experiencing. I'm not sure.
Medical neglect, but also neglect in her own family.
So there are several things that probably played a role in my decision to transition. Trauma probably played a role in my transition. Dissociation probably played a role in my transition. Body image issues, the inherent disconnect from society and womanhood that you feel as a lesbian, and the inherent disconnect from others that you feel as an autistic child.
And she's autistic. Of course.
Hey, Inksearch, are you doing okay?
We see a lot of people who identify as trans, especially girls who are...
1986. Oh, they're probably a lot more normal than the ones you get now. You still get some normal ones.
Autistic. It makes sense if a woman transitions due to sexual trauma. They don't want to live...
Oh, that's fine. I've been doing the same. I moved, like, all my videos, except for this month, to one of my hard drives. It took fucking ages. But I've got internet again, so I can stream again.
With the body that they were born in because someone ruined that for her, right? And it makes sense if someone does it due to autism. There's a hyperfixation aspect of it. There's a not feeling comfortable with, you know, especially during puberty. I think a lot of autistic girls feel uncomfortable with what happens. I have heard so many times before from lesbians that if they were children today, they would have transitioned. Because when they were children...
Nobody batted an eyelid. Yeah, well, those people probably tried to, like, fit in and not stick out like a sore thumb, whereas it seems like quite a lot of people now want to stick out like a sore thumb, which I don't really understand the urge for that, but hey. Oh, have I got 666 subscribers? Nice. I can't really check right now. It was 664, I think, when I checked. But hey, no one subscribe or unsubscribe. Actually, no, it's a joke. Everyone subscribe to my channel. Also, like the stream. You should like the stream.
30 years ago or something. They were tomboys, they didn't relate to some gender expectations. They played with the boys, they didn't want to play with the girls. And some even told their parents, I want to be a boy. Girls don't even need to be lesbians to have experienced this. All of this has nothing to do with gender dysphoria, with transsexualism. Because children playing with the opposite sex, with the opposite sex toys as children, are not signs of gender dysphoria. Because where is the gender-related discomfort? Discomfort! Girls who are tomboys are not automatically gender dysphoric. If a boy wants to wear a dress and wants to play with Barbies, where's the discomfort in that? If it makes him happy, we're not talking about dysphoria. No matter why a child wants to transition, they shouldn't go through it. They shouldn't be allowed to. Because no matter if the child wants to transition due to trauma, other mental health issues, or even if the child does deal with chronic gender dysphoria, the drugs will still harm the children. It doesn't matter who gives the child the drugs. It can be a homeless man on the street who knows nothing about medicine, or it could be a doctor, educated doctor. It doesn't matter. It still doesn't change the fact that it will damage all children, even the ones who will live a transsexual life as an adult. One of the biggest reasons why these lesbians didn't transition when they were kids just because they were gender nonconforming, whatever that means, was because they didn't get brainwashed into believing that there's only one way to be a woman. And if you can't relate to it, it must mean that you're a boy. And that's why we see a rise in teenage girls transitioning today. Today we have all these made-up genders, which are just unnecessary because there's no limit on how many ways you can be a boy or a girl.
Kefel's bathwater. Oh my god.
So we don't need more genders. Moving on, I want to show you how the trans community treats detransitioners. Watch this.
Way too many trans people are immediately triggered when they hear the story of a detransitioner, and honestly,
This is very true.
it's kind of getting on my nerves. I need you to sit and unpack. Sit and unpack. Why does seeing a detrans person on your feed put you into an immediate fight or flight response?
Because they're in a fucking thought cult, and anything that's not positive and affirming about trans is bad and evil. Like, look at the way people talk about things like WPATH files and like the cast review and stuff. It's just like cult shit. They're like completely indoctrinated against all of this shit.
Think about that for a minute.
And they think you're a traitor as well, probably.
Because I feel like I don't even have a chance with some of you guys that...
Mate, it's not even detransitioners. It's anyone who thinks differently. It's anyone who takes a different path to what they want you to do.
As soon as I open my mouth, you're going to assume that I'm a TERF and not listen to what I have to say. Why?
Yeah, they do that to trans people as well. So fucking much. It's insane. Like, I don't know. I don't even know how you're supposed to get through to these kind of people. I'm not like a deprogrammer. I feel like I should learn how to deprogram people because it'd probably be very helpful eventually. But like, Jesus Christ, it's like really fucked. And people won't admit it. So it's like, well, what do you fucking do then? I guess keep calling this shit out and keep showing the world what these people are really like, because God knows they're not going to tell you for themselves.
Why does my negative experience with gender-affirming healthcare scare you so much? Like...
Someone called you Hitler because you desisted. That does not surprise me at all.
That's weird.
That's a good question, and I can answer that. Trans activists are afraid of the rise in detransitioners because
Yeah, it could happen to any of them. Listen, all these like cultoids that have like gone after me at one point or another, half of them are either going to detransition or end up like me. Like not detransitioning, but coming to a very different outlook on life, you know? And they start trying to convince you you're trans and undeniable. Internally, transphobia, yeah. I don't know, supposedly I have internalized transphobia. I don't know where from or how, but I do. Do you reckon it's the trans people with the most self-doubts who get triggered by detransition? Maybe. I don't want to assume it's like projection or something unless they're being a shitter and I don't care anymore. But like, I don't know, it could be lots of things. It does come across very insecure for definite.
Transitioners
Everyone is weak and emotional now. Emotionally now and whiny. Yes, very, very, very true. Especially, not all trans people, but some trans people.
existence alone proves that trans ideology is toxic and the activists are full of shit. Activists have been pushing for years now. Anyone who claims to be trans should transition. They call it self-identification, self-ID. They claim self-ID is harmless, but here we have
What, Hitler drank water? Well, fucking hell, should have told me sooner. I'd have downed this and got... Hitler juice.
detransitioners coming out, talking about their stories, and talking about how it's not harmless, it's actually harmful to let especially children make these types of decisions. Trans activists are frustrated to hear detransitioners coming out because they will open
Listen, you don't need to keep trying to sell me on Hitler. This is a joke, I'm not a Nazi. Maybe I am a Nazi, who knows?
up so many people's eyes. And that means activists will lose a lot of support in the future. Hopefully. Detransitioners are a threat to trans ideology. And it's true that some from the trans community will get triggered when hearing detrans stories because they feel insecure about their own transition.
Ooh, we literally just said what you were kind of saying and what I kind of agreed with. Listen, I try very hard not to like psychoanalyze people, but some of them, yeah, they probably do feel insecure. They probably don't like how much they look very much and are probably starting to realize that you only improve looks-wise so much and then that's kind of it. Shalom. Jesus. Anyway.
And they're afraid of normal people out there will no longer believe in their transness. And I think it's so pathetic. This person says, God, detransitioners are so annoying. Please keep your mouth shut. Sorry you made poor choices, but you shouldn't make it harder for kids that...
There's this famous empathy from the trans community. This looks very familiar. Not because I detransitioned, because I haven't, but because I just know this fucking attitude so well at this point. There's a lot of these trans rights advocates that like, they literally just lack empathy for anyone except themselves. And when they show empathy, it's only to people that believe in the same shit that they do.
that need to transition. Wow. What a disgusting human being. No kids need to transition. Anyways, here's her response.
Every time someone like you makes a comment like this, I'm gonna take it as a sign to talk about it even more. So, thank you.
Based.
Love that response, and I agree. It means you need to speak even louder about this topic. So this Ryan person is blaming a child for what adults...
Listen, for every upset TRA about detransitioners, I'm just gonna listen to more detransitioners tell their stories with minimal input. That's how it is. I'm an empath. I'm an empathic psychopath. Yeah, I don't know. The amount of people that have told me how empathetic they are, when clearly throughout any conversation I've had with them, they've shown less than zero empathy towards someone like me. It means that they don't have empathy, because people who are empathetic empathize with all kinds of people, even like murderers and shit, who overall they're like, yeah, this is a terrible person, but I empathize with this specific aspect of them or something, you know? Someone isn't empathetic if they only empathize with very specific kinds of people. That's not empathy at all.
did to her when she was not even mentally present as a child, was dissociated, dealt with trauma.
Detransitioning was my worst nightmare, for sure. But when I first started transitioning, probably about 2 years after I started transitioning, I saw one of my friends from my transgender summer camp that I went to come out.
Oh my god, used as evidence for anti-trans rhetoric. I mean, this person isn't evidence our healthcare is prone to major flaws. Wow, that's this person seems quite based. I'm not talking about them specifically, but like this kind of thing gets used for anti-trans rhetoric. I hate that argument so much. It's really dumb. I hate it. Like, you have to be honest. You have to, if there's flaws, you have to show them and work out how to make them better. But we don't have any interest in that. We're just continuing on saying, no, this is the right way, the way we're doing it. It's not going to last. We have insisted on building our house on sand or whatever by lying. You know what I mean? Like all the lying and shit. That's what I want to stop. I want the trans media to stop fucking lying. I want trans people stop lying about detransitioners. I want the whole system to stop lying about how great it is when clearly it's not. Oh. Okay, I'll let you off that. Like when you're liberal, you can be racist and become a racist another one. Yeah, I get what you're saying, yeah. Hi, Cherry Juliet. I give space to him detrans. Purely scientific, logic and empathy. Yes, we got to do that. Yeah, exactly. Like, be honest. Listen, I'm someone who's happy with my transition. Like, I'll still hear out like any detransitioners that have had a different experience to me because, I don't know, we keep throwing this word fucking valid everywhere. Like, isn't everyone's experience supposed to be valid? But we don't think that at all. We think that any experience that's the same as someone like mine is good. Except not even my experience counts, because I've had such bad experiences with like trans fucking with trans communities and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. The perspective that these like activists, the perspectives that these activists will listen to are extremely narrow.
Out and start detransitioning. Seeing that one detransitioned person gave me the confidence for the rest of my transition that if I detransitioned, I would be okay. And that's what I'm really doing here, is I'm not convincing you to detransition. I'm not telling you to detransition. I'm not telling you that the detransitioned life is better than the transitioned life. I'm here sharing my story for the very, very, very small percentage of trans people that will detransition, because everybody needs someone to see that looks like that.
Excellent. And it's also...
There you go, representation. Detrans representation. I can't represent detrans people, but I can at least show videos about them and talk about them, you know.
Great point, because the trans community has created so many labels.
100% of feelings are valid, then valid is a meaningless word. True, very true.
And will scream at you if you don't understand the difference between gray gender and agender, demisexual and demi-romantic. I don't know. And they also talk a lot about...
We've already done those. We've already, we've looked at all the different identities that are very similar to each other. I was even nice about the person that made the video, but the whole thing is like pretty bunk in my opinion. Annihilates the meaning of valid for feel. Yeah, well, it is bullshit. Like, if you actually look at the way it's used and stuff, it's very obvious sort of what kind of way someone is using it in, usually politically. It's pure compulsive self-soothing. Yes, very true.
The importance of representation. But when it comes to detransitioners, they don't want to hear their perspective. They don't want them to be seen. They don't want anyone to listen to detransitioners. I want to thank this detrans woman for speaking up. I think she's doing a fantastic job of showing people out there that we shouldn't do this to children. We should leave them alone. Mental health is sometimes complicated, and people dealing with mental health issues, especially children, deserve to get help and get the right type of treatment.
Religious deconstruction. Hey, there's a lot of comparisons between TRA and religion, and for very good reason. Yeah, Ray Alex Williams. Yeah, I spoke to him, because I initially saw him on Chud Logic as well, bizarrely. But yeah, he seems cool, honestly. I understand more about it. It's not a super important topic for me. It's mostly important in the way morally neutral. I agree with you. It's propagandized against. And that's the main reason I'm interested in, honestly, is just what the trans community accepts and what it doesn't, and how it discredits things it doesn't, you know?
Before you go, I just want to thank you for watching this video.
All right, so that's Marcus Dibb's video. I regret starting on testosterone at 13. We also have a Buck Angel video, which hopefully is not about the same person. There's at least... Oh, it might be completely different people. That's excellent. This video is by Buck Angel, and it is called... Oh, he has less subscribers, I think, than Marcus. Fair enough. Gender surgery regret. I didn't need hormones and surgery. I needed therapy. So let's see what this is. Yeah, I emailed Buck Angel. I like to talk to him. I like him in general. See what happens, really. I don't know.
That surgery actually didn't go well at all. Something went seriously wrong during that surgery, and they left one of my arteries open.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
Left one of her arteries open. Jesus fuck.
Today we're going to talk about trans surgery regret. So I don't know if it's necessarily trans, it could be non-binary, anything with under this new.
Yeah, he had Brianna Wu on really recently. I'm sure there was a video out like yesterday or today. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I like Brianna Wu's like takes on trans activism and stuff like that, but I think she often does the same kind of shit that those people do. And I don't know. maybe I'll get more of an understanding one day.
New umbrella term. It's actually horrifying, these young, actually they're all girls who regret mostly having top surgery, but most of them all just regret doing what they did. Thank you.
Yeah, AGP has great trolling potential. I'll definitely give it that. I think it's got some legitimacy. I would argue it's probably got more legitimacy than gender identity theory, so.
All so much for liking, subscribing, joining this channel, helping me get these videos out there, and really helping to see. I see a difference starting. I see a crack in.
Oh yeah, Brianna Wu, someone else mentioned. I'll have to listen at some point. I'm kind of on and off with Brianna Wu, but I do like some of her takes, don't get me wrong.
In this whole charade of gender affirming care, and these young people, seems to be mostly girls, getting swept into this insanity. So with that, I want to bring up this first one right here, and I hope you're prepared for all of this because it's quite depressing, to be honest with you. I got depressed trying to even find these, but it's very important for me as an elder to bring this information to you. So let's start with this young lady.
And by the time I turned 19, so it was a pretty quick turnaround, I started taking testosterone. And then about a year after that.
So she was an adult, but it kind of also depends on, how long she's been trans since before that, I guess, like the identity and like social transitioning.
I had a double mastectomy, I had top surgery, and I had my breast removed. And then a couple more years after that, I had a hysterectomy. I had my uterus, ovaries, cervix, and fallopian tubes all removed. And that surgery actually didn't go well at all. Something went seriously wrong during that surgery, and they left one of my arteries open, is what I understand about it. And after the surgery, I wasn't recovering well. So they kept me at the hospital, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. But later that same night, they did an ultrasound and found that I'd been bleeding out for a few hours. And so they rushed me back into emergency surgery that night, fixed whatever was going wrong, and then I had 3 blood transfusions before I was able to leave the hospital. Wow.
OMG. This young woman, girl, lady, human, did all of that at the age of 19 because they thought they were trans, okay? I'm going to put links to all of these videos because there's so much going on here. I couldn't really. I wanted to give you like 4 or 5 different stories. I can't play the whole video in the time frame that we have here, but it's going to blow you away, the story of this young person. Eventually they went, they're Catholic, and they went to their pastor and said, I feel like I'm not trans, and I'm not sure I did the right thing, and went through their church and eventually got help to start to detransition. But all the damage was done. All the damage was done. And all they had to do was say they were trans. And next thing you know, they were getting surgery. They didn't even go through therapy. They didn't even it wasn't even long term. It was like basically identifying as trans from the age of like 17 or 18, socially transitioning, living that way. Then at 19, literally going in and having a hysterectomy, top surgery, everything. At 19. What's happening, everybody? This is just... I mean, I'm mad, but I want to cry. You know me, I'll start to cry because I just can't even believe this is happening to these young girls. I just am blown away. And why you are helping me get this message out there. We cannot have this anymore. We cannot have this anymore. This is just insanely disgusting.
I'm here, yeah. Yeah, my internet wasn't working for a few days on this computer specifically, but it's been fixed. hopefully this computer will continue working until I can buy a new one, because it's pretty old. But yeah, all good at the moment. Good to see you, Cameron.
So the second one I'm going to bring up for you. Oh, God, I don't even know which one to bring next. They're all so tragic and gross. Okay, so I'm going to bring up this person right here. It says, I removed my breast for nothing. A detransitioner.
To also have
Ouch. I mean, I hope they're doing okay. Like, no one needs that shit, you know?
the awareness of why that is. Okay, it's not just that I was born without them, right? And it's not because there was some evil curse, there was some sick disease inside them that I needed
Crumpet processing unit, yeah. Exactly. British computers are just like this.
to restore my body to health. It was 100% elective, unconscious self-mutilation due to conscious self-hate.
I'll say one thing. I don't know if we need to be like normalizing words like mutilation, but I don't know. This person's detransitioning, so it's a different kind of perspective. So I guess I get it.
Due to the most ugly and disgusting thing of all, which is severe emotional turmoil and pain. I mean, I didn't just have my breasts removed for no reason, right? I was in an extreme amount of pain for years.
Which one's Jake Alley? Oh, hi, Jen. Hope you're doing well. I know the name Jake Alley, and I can't remember who it is. Hang on, I'm just going to look it up quick on my other... That rings a bell. I haven't heard that name in a while, though. Oh, shoot. Secret Gamer Gal? Secret Gamer Gal, yes. No, I remember that person. I remember them being trans, but looking extremely masculine. Yeah, I think... I used to go on Kiwi Farms, like, a lot, years and years ago, and I think I remember from then. Woman with glasses now, same transitioner. I'm not actually sure. I'm probably worse at faces than you are, to be honest.
Before
This person can just go on and on, talking about their emotional pain. All these girls say pretty much the same thing, and you're going to see.
Yeah, I guess they're not. Yeah, I mean, they're self-described trans, I guess. But I don't know what they're up to these days.
They were not being treated for the underlying condition. Something was going on with them. They all admit it. But instead of that...
Buck did an interview with Brianna. Yeah, she did. He did an interview with her. I haven't watched any of it yet. I might do. I'm very kind of on and off with Brianna Wu, though, if I'm honest.
They got sucked in by their friends.
They're an e-bagger that pretends to be trans for attention and clown money. Hey, don't knock that. That's what I do. I'm joking.
Sucked in by the internet. They got sucked in by this idea by changing their bodies.
We have to invest in detection arts and counseling. One of the huge problems with that at the moment is that the trans side call everything that isn't affirmative care conversion therapy. I don't know what the way around that is, other than to continue rubbishing that idea, because it is ridiculous, to be fair. But like, yeah, it's very difficult. Unfortunately, we've got two sides that want to do completely different things, and yeah, it's not gonna work. But I think what's gonna happen is like the WPATH, etc. approach is gonna come crashing down because of stuff like this. Like, this is gonna keep happening. It's gonna get worse and worse. And even if nothing regarding detrans goes beyond the pale, something in sports might, something else with young transgender people might. There's a whole load of things. It's gonna hit a brick wall at some point, and I don't even know which one it is. There's so many. Buck still creeps me out, but I'm gonna withhold any further statement. Yeah, I get what you mean. Listen, I don't get what you mean about Buck. I really don't have any issue with him, but like, some people give me the creeps, and I don't really know why as well. So I don't know.
Everything would be okay, and they would have gender euphoria, and their lives would go on. But that's not the truth. You and I both know that's not the truth. Yet here we are, with these young women saying they regret.
Maybe it's the stuff with the Wachowskis. I'm not sure. I got to hear that one again from that Leo and Willie video. I don't know. I know ContraPoints talked about him a lot in her cancelling video because she had him do a like 5-second voiceover which got her cancelled. But yeah, like, I don't know. I saw that whole thing as like celebrities being shit to each other. Kind of seems like there's lots of them. Doesn't make it okay, but I don't know.
Regret doing this surgery. Where are the adults? And how come they didn't need a certain amount of time in therapy in order to make sure that these irreversible surgeries were going to help them move forward in their lives for the rest of their lives?
Yeah, the current problem is the people who've got all the power when it comes to trans stuff, they call all this stuff conversion therapy. So, I don't know.
And now, where's the...
How many post-op women are in competitive sports? Yeah, fair enough. I'm certainly not in competitive sports. Sometimes 10 to 11 hours for PPV or sigmoid. Oh, wow. I don't know how long mine took. I had the inversion. I can't remember how long it took.
The medical help for these young people? There is none. There is none. This young person is a detransitioner.
Survivors, victims, and predators can both recognize each other at a high rate. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I have... Maybe I can tell as well, but often when I have those feelings, I don't actually have any proof of it. So it's like, I can't really say anything, like, as much as I really want to. And might say something with the clear caveat that I don't actually have any evidence, but yeah. That's how predators pick targets. Yeah, I mean, that kind of things happen to me, but I can see why, like, I came across as kind of weak at that point. So I can see how that would have happened.
And is going to talk about being without the breasts, and they're now a mother.
I went through my whole pregnancy flat-chested, which was strange and difficult, and, you know...
Yeah, she'll never breastfeed. Like, these are the things you got to think about. Can you think about that when you're, like, 13 years old or something?
Isolating, because, like, seeing yourself in the mirror as, like, a woman with a flat, masculinized chest and a pregnant belly is just... makes you feel kind of like a freak. I'm not saying that you are a freak. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this video. But anyway, I'm starting to get a little uncomfortable with...
So, you see what she said? It makes you feel kind of like a freak. But then she didn't want to say that. She didn't want to say that. I'm sure for a lot of reasons. And my own opinion is the reason why.
Hey, if you like the stream, you should like the stream. Also, check my links. You can support the stream. You can join my Discord. Hopefully the hopefully the link is in date. Oh, thank you, Super. I appreciate that. Thank you.
She doesn't want to say that is because she doesn't want other people who are in the same situation that she is, detransitioning without breasts, and make them feel bad about themselves. And she probably doesn't want to feel bad about her own self, which, come on. How can she not feel bad about herself? She's now a mother and she can't breastfeed. Even though in the whole video she talks about how she's really just trying to get over it and it's okay. Some people, she's basically talking herself into it being okay. It's not okay. I'm glad that she's trying to make herself feel okay. I think that's a very healthy thing to do. But let's just be real here. It's not okay. It's not okay that this young woman took her breasts off, made a mistake, and now wanted to move forward and become a mom.
Hey, I'll check it out sometime.
And have a baby and breastfeed and can never do that. This one is kind of a famous detransitioner, but whether or not you know her.
Oh, hi, Sour Power. First time catching it live. Love your content, takes on things, critiquing things in a case by case. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you get what I'm trying to do. For sure. It's good to see you.
Or not, has a very fascinating story. So.
You had your breasts removed?
Yeah, I got a double mastectomy when I was 26.
What was that? Was there...
Oh, her voice is like so low.
Double mastectomy.
Fascinating story. So.
You had your breasts...
Like, testosterone is not a fucking toy. Like, you can hear her voice. Like, Jesus Christ.
Removed?
Yeah, I got a double mastectomy when I was 26.
Her voice is like deeper than mine. There's no book. Yeah. Listen, I don't need any cookbooks. I am a great cook. I'm okay, I guess. I'm not amazing.
What was that? Was there a single moment that you realized I made a grave mistake?
I wouldn't say there was a single moment. It was a progression of realizations that when I first started the cross-sex hormones and the depression was still there, I thought it's because I haven't transitioned enough, so I'll get the surgery. And then I got the double mastectomy and the depression and self-hatred
You wish your voice was that. Yeah. There's probably lots of men that do.
was still there. So I thought, okay, I'll get the hysterectomy and then I'll get the phalloplasty and I'll get everything that I need to get. But fortunately for me,
Yeah, fucking hope she didn't get the phalloplasty. Jesus.
after the double mastectomy, I kind of had that realization where I was like, what if I do go the full way and I still hate myself like this? I didn't need hormones or surgery. I needed therapy.
Listen, I feel what she's saying. I still get dysphoria. The thing with transitioning is it kind of, you get to a certain point and then you're probably not going to look any better. And a lot of people are very focused on looking right as well as feeling right, whether they want to admit it or not. US Dana Bauer, political doctor, shares some views against Blanchard.
There it is, right there. Right there. Right there. I didn't need hormones and surgery. I needed therapy. They all say it in their videos. It's actually insane. You know, it did work out for me. How do you think?
Sinead Watson, I've heard of her. Oh, is that the person in the video? Oh, wow.
Think this makes me feel? It makes me feel horrified for these young people. It worked out for me because I was 30. I went through years of therapy. Okay, you all know it worked out for me. You can't deny it. I am happy. I am solid. But I'm an adult.
Hormones are a powerful thing, yes, and we treat them like toys, and it's really annoying listening to people treat them like toys. Kind of known for this one thing called creating life. Yeah. Yeah, if only we'd bother to understand things like that. Basic things like that, you know. I guess Mariah, he's saying all the right things now to make up for something. Maybe, I don't know. It's always very difficult to tell who's saying what for what reason, if that makes sense. And like, when I don't know when I don't really know that much about someone, especially not really their past or whatever, I kind of have no choice but to kind of trust them and just, be open to new information. Because like, I've seen the ContraPoints cancelling video. I saw that fucking Leo and Willie video, which reiterated half the same shit that the ContraPoints video did. You know what I mean? I don't know. And maybe he's pushed a lot of this trans stuff when he was younger as well. Maybe that's something. But like I said, I only know bits and pieces about Buck Angel, ultimately.
Who made an adult.
And like, the thing is, sorry, I keep pausing. The thing is, I don't want to read too much about people because it feels like that's what everyone does. And they want to like tally up all the bad things they've done. And to me, I'd rather take people at their word as much as I can, I guess.
Choice and went through an actual system for people who have something called gender dysphoria, and there's no other way to get around it but to utilize medical and surgery. It's a very tiny amount of people in the world that have this. It is rare. It is why it worked out for me and other people as adults, because it is rare, and we do recognize that. 32 years. It makes me sick to my stomach to see this. I will not be a part of this. This is not gender affirming anything. This is actual mutilation. This is actual insanity. It's medical malpractice. It's malpractice in the transgender community. Shame on that community. It's not mine. I'm not taking any responsibility for
I also meant to an extent. I probably did, yeah.
that community. Something's wrong. I'm so pissed for these young girls. Let me bring up this last one. This one is quite sad. Not that they all aren't. They all make me sad.
I kind of regret top surgery. And maybe more than kind of.
This sounds like someone that's like barely begun to come out of it, which is like scary to me in a way. You might just feel bad about being perceived a certain way. Yeah, I guess. I used to be like that as well. I mean, I used to try and appease a lot of these people that I now talk about. I said as much as possible. All right. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I used to obsess over how I was perceived a lot. I don't anymore. I don't know if he still does or not. He's probably taken a hell of a lot of shit over the years, so.
I had top surgery in 2015 when it was a month before I turned 17.
Constantly using qualifiers. Is that like being scared of making like strong statements maybe? I definitely used to be like that. Still calling Contra yeah, Jesus Christ. Contra got cancelled for like the fucking dumbest shit over and over and over. And I don't say that as a diss on her. I say that as a diss on the people cancelling her. It was like really pathetic. What ContraPoints did is prove that it really takes almost nothing for these certain kinds of activist types to hate you.
So I was pretty young. It really wasn't even 2 years between actually knowing I was non-binary and getting top surgery.
Non-binary.
Top surgery for being non-binary. Jesus Christ. And how old was she? Does it say? I don't know if it's mentioned all the ages here. Maybe I haven't been listening properly.
And top surgery was also something I was not sure about. I knew that
Yeah, I would have thought if someone uses qualifiers a lot, it's probably a sign that they've been around someone who you're not really supposed to disagree with. Accurate, but not practical. Yeah, of course. You have to make like assumptions sometimes. It depends on how you're doing it.
had dysphoria over kind of how I presented and was perceived by others with that chest. Like just kind of how I appeared in clothing and around other people. And I did bind, but...
17, non-binary? Why is it a non-binary?
Okay, I said about ages 17 and like not even really a trans man. I mean, they crop their hair. Is that all you need these days?
Getting chest surgery at 17. Non-binary is an identity choice. It is not...
Self-delusion in successful people. Yeah, I can imagine. I think you have to be able to put yourself across confidently. Because if you sound confident in what you're saying, even if it's bullshit, then people are going to believe you, you know?
Part of the trans, okay, at all. I don't care what any of you say. It's not.
My sympathy for her has been running out recently as I've watched her too recent. I think ContraPoints has kind of acquiesced to an extent, and she doesn't really make videos about any of this stuff anymore. But the problem is, like, she'd have to, like, rehash so much shit. Like, she'd have to go back over AGP, seeing as she's not actually a trans woman that fucks men. The gender critical thing would definitely need an update. And, like, mostly Contra got things right by just kind of stopping short of a lot of the crazy shit, being like, only 18 plus getting surgery, by the way. Yeah, of course, yeah. Only 18 plus, definitely. No, with ContraPoints, yeah, the only reason she got stuff right so much really was because she stopped short of being like, I'm literally a woman. I'm literally female. It's like I use metaphorical language, stuff like that, which is true, but it's not metaphorical anymore. And I think if she got back into these, like, if she got back into making videos, she'd probably just get chased off again. So I don't know. I think what I've learned is that I definitely don't want to be like what she's become, I guess. Which again, it sounds like a diss on her. She's got more money than I ever will. I'm sure she's fine. But I could never like acquiesce after all the shit that I've seen. You know what I mean? And I'm surprised she did. I would have been like, I would have been on a mission after the shit she's dealt with. It took far less for me to get set off doing this shit. So, you know.
It is an identity choice. It is not a mental disorder, okay? You're choosing not to be a man, or it's called androgyny. So here we have a...
Yeah, the never happens thing is a meme, yeah, don't worry. Like the this never happens about surgery. I get it on Twitter, like still all the time. Like, oh no, no surgeries are done on under 18s. And it's like, how many fucking things do I need to send to you? And then they start using qualifiers like, oh, well, this was only measured up to 2021. It's okay, well, why did they change it then? Why have they stopped doing it super recently? It seems kind of suspect, no?
17-year-old who...
And it's not as good as the human right. Yeah, bodily autonomy, which is why children can't drink alcohol or drive a car and shit like that.
I'm pretty sure did not go through any therapy and just went and had top surgery done and now regrets it and is embarrassed. The whole video, not sure if I should talk about it. I'm not sure if I really should be...
Yeah, no wonder she's like not sure if she should talk about it, because she's gonna get fucking destroyed for this shit, and it sucks. Like, people shouldn't hate on fucking detransitioners or people experiencing regret, but they just get shoved under the bus and like under the fucking carpet. Like, Natalie, you live through what JK is going through. Why the fuck would make 2 whole videos shitting on her? Yeah, I don't know. She seems to still want to like appease the crowd. I don't know, maybe she made a lot of inroads and didn't want to lose them. Because for me, like, I didn't want to lose the trans friends I had, so I kind of kept a lot of my opinions to myself, and then started noticing the double standard of my trans friends can constantly come out with complete bullshit that I'll just leave alone because I'm like, well, whatever, we disagree, it's fine. But then when I'd express my opinion about anything, I'd get fucking dogpiled or like completely shat on by someone I thought I was friends with. So like, I don't know. You don't even like JK. Me neither, honestly. Like, I think she's pretty pathological. At the same time, I think she was ahead of her time and she was right about a bunch of stuff.
He's saying this. I mean, because the reason why they don't want to say it is because the sick community will tear you apart and make you feel like a bad person for even saying that. I found some videos where people are just like, I hate when detransitioners say blah, blah, blah. Of course you do. Of course you hate it. You hate it because they're exposing you.
Yeah, instead of saying, I hate when detransitioners do this, just be honest and say you hate detransitioners. I think that's easier.
Why do you hate detransitioners so much? Why do I have love for them? Don't you think that's a little bit strange? With all this insanity.
I don't think any of it's strange. I think people who are empathetic will care about them. People who are captured by some kind of ideology, which they're inconvenient for, shall we say, they're not going to like them. That's just kind of how it works. It's not usually based on common sense or any kind of human decency. It's mostly just people being shitters.
I just want to let you know that I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to keep bringing all of these videos.
Based, same.
I'm going to keep interviewing people. I'm going to keep exposing this nonsense. You know, it's not even nonsense. It's insanity to be doing this to young girls, okay? Even young boys. But the majority of everything I find tends to be young girls, okay? And I'm just heartbroken for these people. Heartbroken, disgusted. It also interferes with somebody like me and my transition and people who actually need this medicine in order to move forward as adults. Because they will shut down everything because they're doing stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm not down with the rad fem thing. To be honest, I'm barely a feminist anymore anyway. Excuse me. I support like basic equality. It seems like in a lot of areas we're doing pretty well. In some areas, not so much. And I mean, I try and stay out of the front of those conversations anyway, because I was born male and I'm at best appropriating womanhood, so.
And I actually don't blame you. I don't. I really don't. I don't blame if the whole system gets shut down. It's the fault of the transgender agenda.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You build your house on lies, the house is gonna come tumbling down. This is just how it's gonna happen. I don't know whether it's gonna be detransitioners, where it's gonna be trans kids, where it's gonna be sports. Something is going to go beyond the pale. Things are already going beyond the pale for people. It's going to keep happening. This is clearly what we want. And no one wants to listen to me, so it's fine. Okay, we'll watch it fucking crash down. And then you can accuse me of pulling the ladder up. I'm not pulling the ladder up. I think things were better at a certain time to where they are now. If you want to see that as pulling the ladder up, then that's your choice. You're a very deeply cynical person.
Agenda community BS. And it serves you all just right, because you made this happen. When you start doing this stuff to 17, I don't even care that other person was 27. What? This is a life-changing, non-reversible surgery.
Support classic feminism. Modern feminism more about hating men. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Feminists have little to say to man that is positive. And so it makes a lot of sense why they go to people like Andrew Tate and whatever. And, you know, people that actually will say positive stuff about men. We should have seen that kind of shit coming, I think. I mean, to me, like things like intersectional feminism, I can't with fucking intersectionality in general. I think it's an okay concept, but the way it's used is like, it's insane. I feel like my understanding of it is at complete odds to how people use it, which seems to be as some kind of replacement for empathy, where they can just add people up like equations and decide who they have to treat nicely and who they don't. I think that's like fucked up as like a worldview. And that seems to be what a lot of intersectional feminists are about, unfortunately. Hey, listen, maybe I'm wrong. If an intersectional feminist wants to come over and educate me, I'll listen.
Space. Stop calling it reversible. Hormones are not reversible. Surgery is not reversible. Mental health. These people have to live with this for the rest of their lives, but you don't seem to care because it's only about you. So with that, I'm going to leave you with this. We must all come together, all of us, okay, to go against this insanity. This is
true-based.
It's not gender-affirming anything. It is destroying young people's lives. And together we can expose the insanity, we can expose this, and we can help these people get back to a space of maybe not feeling so bad about themselves, and maybe learning how to accept their bodies, and maybe just knowing that you're going through a little bit of time right now, kiddo. We've all done it. We've all done it. You'll get to the other side. Just deal with it a little bit right now. It's uncomfortable, but you will get to the other side. That's what they need.
Yeah, I think egalitarianism is like older feminism, I guess, where it's more about bringing men and women to an equal level, which I'm more than down for, you know what I mean? I think there's issues where women don't seem quite up there with men, and issues where men don't seem quite up there with women, like custody and stuff like that, you know, the suicide rate. So yeah, there's a lot of issues, and it makes no sense to only want to bring one up. You kind of have to bring both up, or neither, you know?
Need to hear. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I really tried not to cry. I tried not to cry. Okay? I don't know if you saw my tears, but I try. It is not easy for me to do these, but I will not stop. And thank you all so much for helping me get these messages out.
Listen, Trampa, God bless you. Yeah, we've had a couple of videos about detransition. I'll keep watching them. Hopefully be able to talk to some myself eventually. I really have no experience with like interviewing people, so that's something I need to work on for sure. But hey, I've got a lot of things I can do. The sky's the limit. But yeah, detransitioners, I think we need to care about them. I think we need to stop throwing them under the bus. We need to have more to say about them than there's not very many of them, especially because there's more of them than what the kind of people who say there's not very many of them seem to think. And yeah, that's about it. There we go. Buck Angel, Marcus Dibb. Yeah, it's good videos.